On February 17th, we celebrate President's Day. And so I thought it appropriate to share with you a story about one of our former presidents. It was a bitter, cold evening in Northern Virginia many years ago. The old man's beard was frosted by the winter's chill as he waited, hopefully, for a ride across the river. The wait seemed endless. His body became numb and stiff from the frigid north wind. And then he heard the faint, steady rhythm of approaching hoofs galloping along the frozen path. Anxiously he watched as several horsemen rounded the bend. He let the first one pass by without making an effort to get his attention. And then another passed by, and another. Finally, the last rider neared the spot where the old man sat like a snow statue. As this rider drew near, the old man caught the rider's eye and said, "Sir, would you give an old man a ride across the river?" Reining his horse, the rider replied, "Sure thing." And seeing that the old man was unable to lift his half-frozen body from the ground, the horseman dismounted and helped the old man onto his horse. And then he mounted and took the old man not just across the river, but right to his destination, which was a few miles further. As they neared the tiny cottage, the horseman's curiosity caused him to inquire, "Sir, I noticed that you let several other riders pass by without asking them for a ride. Then I came along, and you immediately asked me. I'm curious to know why, on such a bitter winter night, you would wait and ask the last rider. What if I had refused and left you there?" The old man slowly dismounted, looked the rider straight in the eye, and replied, "I've been around these here parts for some time. I reckon I know people pretty good." The old-timer continued, "I looked into the eyes of those other riders and immediately saw that there was no concern for my situation. It would have been useless to ask them for a ride. But when I looked into your eyes, kindness and compassion were evident, and I knew that your gentle spirit would welcome the opportunity to give an old man assistance in his time of need." These heartwarming comments touched the horseman deeply. "I'm most grateful for what you have said," he told the old man. "May I never get too busy in my own affairs that I fail to respond to the needs of others with kindness and compassion." And with that, Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States of America, turned his horse around and made his way back to the White House. And here is a related story. A few years ago, at the Seattle Special Olympics, 9 contestants, all physically or mentally disabled, assembled at the starting line for the 100-yard dash. At the gun, they all started off, not exactly in a dash, but with a relish to run the race to the finish. All that is, except one little boy who stumbled on the asphalt, tumbled over a couple of times, fell on the ground, and began to cry. The other 8 heard the boy cry. They slowed down and stopped and looked back. And then they all turned around and walked back, every one of them. One girl with Down syndrome bent down and kissed the little boy and said, "This will make it better." And then all 9 linked arms and walked together to the finish line. Everyone in the stadium stood, and the cheering went on for several minutes. People who were there are still telling the story. Why? Because deep down we know what matters in life is more than winning for ourselves. What matters is helping others win, even if it means slowing down and changing our course. A candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. I'm Larry Johnson. Until next month, stay well.